Here we go, and we're live, like Martin Tyler says, or as they say on the Greek channel, Zondanake Aboglistikai, live and exclusive. It's no Choftes. Wow, this is the first time I've ever done a no Choftes live with you guys. How you lot doing, Rod?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, very good, very good. You enjoying the Euro so far?
Yeah, it's been all right. It's always tight the first games, aren't they? Then you get into it. Second game's usually better. And we get into it and we're away.
Yeah, that's right. Steve, you good?
Evening, Stel. I'm well. Are you?
Yeah, mate. There's a bloody mosquito flying about in this room, and I'm gonna kill it. I've decided I'm gonna kill it. Sorry, this is not relevant to anything. I just saw it fly by. I'm like, you fucker. So yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. You enjoying the Euro so far?
Mosquitoes up north.
I am.
We don't get them up here, do we, Stez?
No, not at all.
Mosquitoes.
One of them.
No.
So what'd you get then? Rats?
No, flies, daddy long legs.
Oh, I don't mind those. I don't mind those. Spiders, I don't mind. I love spiders.
We don't get no cockroaches. You've got a bin problem down there, though, haven't you? So maybe there's a lot more.
I guess so. Too many foreigners, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so let's talk about this foreign tournament, shall we? Euro 2020, which is being held all over the fucking place. I didn't realize how many countries were involved in terms of hosting matches. It's ridiculous. Russia, Azerbaijan, Denmark, and what the fuck is going on, man?
Holland,
I know
Scotland.
Yeah, all over the place. Are they even hosting in Wales?
No.
They're not.
No.
That's a shame. That Millennium Stadium, pointless, really. Might as well use it just for rugby.
Well, yeah, it's rugby. It's filled out when the rugby play.
Okay. You have already a hello
5 or 6 times.
You got a hello here already. Someone knows you. Who's this? You know this person?
Callum. No, you're right, Callum. What's happening?
You got a fan already. There you go. Lovely. See? Anyway, let's talk about this tournament then. Shall we start with the opening game where Italy absolutely battered the Turks? And I don't want to say something too much about the Turks because I live in North London and I'm too scared that someone might knock at my door with a machete. So, Steve, take it away. You're the furthest north, I guess.
Obviously, there was a gulf in the competition in class. Slightly, we know Italy are a huge footballing nation, but almost a new look about them as well, or possibly me as a supporter has took my eye off them, but they were absolutely brilliant, heavy in possession. Obviously, they've got a goal scorer in the team with Immobile, and they look as though they could go really, really deep in the tournament, even though it was just one game against the team they were expected to beat. But Italy were excellent.
So when you look at this Italy squad, right, there are no superstars like we saw back in the day, like your Vialis, your Baggios, etc., Buffon and all that. So do you think there's less pressure for Italy to perform in this competition because of the lack of stellar names, because they're not really tournament favourites? So everyone's talking about Belgium at the moment. So, yeah, is there less pressure on Italy to deliver?
Well, yeah, but I thought under Mancini, I think he's evolved as a manager. Obviously, he's won the Premier League with Manchester City, but he spread Italy out all over the pitch. They had width, depth, length, but obviously they can all backtrack towards their own goal, defend the half, and they can defend the penalty area with Bonucci and Cellini, just like old soldiers, really. But with Insigne in a loose position, fullbacks getting forward, Immobile, very, very hard to mark. They still had that, defensive mindset when they needed to, but equally, like I say, they were spread out and enjoyed real loads of possession and created lots of chances. And I'm looking forward to seeing them again. And they can only get better in the tournament, I expect.
Well, you'd think that as the tournament progresses, that they'll get better and better. But we've seen in the past, in different tournaments, even World Cups, that a team will get off to a flyer, and you think, wow, they've got a great chance of winning this. But then all of a sudden, suspensions, injuries, mistakes, and now we've got VAR. You just never know. Okay, fine, they'll probably get out of the group, but knockout football is completely different to tournament football, isn't it?
It is, but they look well-handed to get out of the group, that's for sure. So if they do get out of the group, they'll have won games or drawn, and they'll be well placed to to take on the rest of the nations. They definitely can't be ruled out. They'll be already somebody's favourite before the tournament, Stel. But having seen them now, they're well capable and well tooled up.
All right, Rod. I don't know what we could say about Turkey that I guess other people haven't said already. They got spanked in the first game. They say that you can't win the tournament after your first game, but they say you can get knocked out after your first game. Do you think that's it for them already? Or do you think that result is kind of like giving them a kick up the arse to step up against who they got next? You guys? Wales?
Wales, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a massive game. You know, if we win, then we'll probably get into the next round, just sneak in it. And then, but if they win it, you know, they're in with a shout. So, you know, it's a difficult one for them, but it's a difficult one for Wales as well. But it's one that's probably a 50-50. But, you know, Wales have probably got the slight advantage, you know, with the X factor with Gareth Bale, with that world-class player in the side. So, but with Italy, you know, we should know from Mancini's days at City, you know, they're going to be very, very well drilled. Yes, you say there's no big stars, but there are no mugs. You know, most of them play for the top Italian sides or top European sides. So, but they're going to be well drilled. Mancini's a very good coach, and you know, you could just see it. They just outworked him, and they just blew a gasket, Turkey. And once the first goal went in, that was it. They had no chance of coming back. But but they've got another chance against us on Wednesday. It's a big game for both countries.
Do you know the one thing I will say about Italy, and I know people are going to slate me for this, but going forward, they're very good. Midfield, they can be solid. We saw Jorginho make a few little mistakes, but they weren't punished. Defensively, pretty solid. But Donnarumma in goal, I think he's got mistakes in him. We've seen it over the past couple of seasons at Milan, where he's dropped a couple of clangers. And I think this is his first tournament as number one. So, I don't know. I think when it comes to the latter stages, you know, if Italy gets to a quarterfinal, for example, and the pressure is on, we might see a couple of mistakes from him. I don't want to be proved correct because he's in my dream team, but you just never know. But then again, he might keep clean sheets to the end of the campaign and then might end up winning. I'll shut my mouth. So, Anyway, right, talk about Wales. Come on. Result against Switzerland, possibly not the one that you wanted, but balance of play, you happy with it?
Yes, because, you know, Switzerland played very well in the first half. Wales really didn't get into it. They couldn't really string three passes together. So to go in 0-0 was a bonus. You know, they've obviously seen something at half time to do the corner that they did. You know, it's obviously a mismatch with the corner, and they've obviously highlighted it and took advantage of it. So it's something to Robert Page to have a look at. Do they put someone on the post? I probably would do. Or, you know, we've got Kiefer Moore there in the space. He's probably the best header of the ball, and he's marking space. He's not marking anyone. So could he put someone there and put whoever was marking the centre forward, put him in the space? You know, it's something they need to work out, but I'm pretty sure they will do. And, you know, like I say, it's a big game, and I'm pretty confident, to be honest, because they need to win. There seems to be good atmosphere in the camp, and like we say, we've got Gareth Bale and a couple of others that, you know, Daniel James was upset to be coming off, and rightly so. But you want that as a coach. You don't want him to be buzzing coming off, do you? You want him to be unhappy. So that it keeps him fresh for Wednesday. He didn't play a full 90 minutes, so he'll be raring to go again, hoping that, you know, to prove that I don't want to be pulled off and try and get a goal, or an assist. So yeah, it's a big game for both countries, but I'm quietly confident.
Okay. Well, I'll put this question to both of you then. Do you think the absence of their head coach has made much of a difference? And the reason why I ask is that sometimes clubs or nations become galvanized when someone that is meant to be coaching them isn't there. It kind of revs them up a little bit. Say, right, we'll do it for him, or we'll do it because this is a major tournament. So has it made a difference, do you think, in terms of their mentality, in terms of their approach to games?
I think it's been a plus with mostly all the team know the manager through under 21s. You know, the manager brought the young kids through from the under 21s. So, and Robert Page was the under 21 manager. So, and then obviously he assisted the coach, and then it's just run seamlessly. You would think it run seamless. It looks like it. This seems to be a good atmosphere. He's obviously still been in touch with the coach, but probably is he making his own decisions now? Probably he will be doing. It'd be stupid not to. So, but I think you can see they're still playing the same way. But yeah, the atmosphere and the camaraderie in the team's not going to change.
Steve, what do you reckon?
I think they'll possibly miss Ryan at some point during the tournament because I think he was evolving and I think becoming, a really good young coach. I think they'll miss his presence at times in the changing room where Robert Page, he could have the respect. I'm sure he's got the respect, but I think Ryan is the type that has earned the right to come in a room and light a football room up just with what he's achieved in the game. Not to say that these international players aren't playing at full tilt and are full of pride, playing for the country, playing for the families, but possibly miss out on a bit of stardust, if you like, that I think Ryan will possess because of his career. And during that last 12 months, 18 months of him managing, he was managing the team successfully well. And obviously, during that time, he must have had some really good in-game management, making some crucial decisions. So, it'll be remaining to be seen whether Rob Page can make those same crucial decisions when the game is on a knife edge, when they're chasing the game, when they're holding on to a result. Because I do believe Ryan was building up a bit of international success as well as experience in doing so. So it might not be missed openly and glaringly still, but it might be at that crucial time, which could be decided how far they go in the tournament. I think they possibly would miss him, yeah.
I agree. And speaking of missing someone, we have to address the elephant in the room being the incident involving Christian Eriksen. To be honest, lads, I don't know where to begin with this one because the game itself was pretty decent prior to Eriksen falling and obviously what had happened. What can you say? What can you say that hasn't already been said? I mean, I tell you what I will say firstly is the medical team, the first response. These guys, they talk about strikers, and I put this on my LinkedIn yesterday actually. That strikers create 3 or 4 chances, or they get 3 or 4 chances, and if they miss, then you've got another opportunity to score. But these guys had one opportunity to save Christian Eriksen, and they did. And you know what? They have got a lot of credit, but I don't think they've had enough credit, if that makes sense.
I think you've got to start before that, Stel. I think you've got to look at the referee, look at the players that reacted quickly, and then obviously the medical staff that you just pointed out. So, yeah, it's just one of them freak things that you just wish that would never happen, but they obviously do happen with Fabrice Wamamba, Daley Blind. Obviously, Fabrice Wamamba didn't play again, but obviously Daley Blind did, and played a lot of games the next season. Obviously, a bit emotional in this tournament, and rightly so, you would be. But it's just one of them freak things. Remember, you got to ask yourself, are these players being overworked? But then you see where he's at. They're very methodical in the fitness and the medical stuff and the background in the coaching, what I'm aware of. So, it's just one of them freak things. The heat as well wouldn't have helped. So, yeah, it's just one of them things. You just got to see what the doctors come with and see where it ends, what the end outcome is.
Well, they were saying that they actually lost him, didn't they? For a moment, they actually lost him.
Yeah, they got the defibrillator on him, and he come back straight away. I was listening to David Ginola speaking today, and they actually did him 5 times before he woke up. Now you're only supposed to do it 3, and then you've got to get permission, in which they got permission, and they did the 4th and the 5th, and he woke up. But yeah, Christian Eriksen woke up on the 1st. This is why it's key to have these defibrillators. No, I've played with a lad that his brother died because they didn't have a defibrillator to resuscitate him. So, he's been on Sky Sports News in the last couple of days, and BBC asked him all. And so it's something that needs to be looked at. It should be at every single ground. These things aren't expensive, but they save lives. So they need to be, they've got the information as you open the case out. It tells you, runs you through how to use it. So, it's very easy to use. So these machines need to be at every single, even at grassroots level.
I agree. And Steve, it was a very difficult moment for obviously the Danish national team. The players, I mean, Simon Kjær, the defender, was absolutely phenomenal. You know, he got the troops, rallied the troops, made a circle round, the medical staff and Ericsson, so that obviously they wouldn't be able to broadcast it. But the first thing I want to ask you is, what the hell were the broadcasting team thinking of broadcasting it? And secondly, again, Simon Kjær, well done for what he did.
Yeah, obviously that showed great leadership. I don't know if he did it on his own or with Casper or a few of the others, or if it just happened organically. But obviously they created a shield of protection to stop the cameras intruding any more than they should. And maybe put this back to you, Stel. I mean, what would you suppose the cameraman, should do? It. So, we're all interested in this iconic shock that we had to witness, but we're all interested. We all wanted to see, albeit that it was gory. It was. It made our blood run cold. Did we want the camera to go elsewhere and fear of intrusion ourselves, or did we
should have, Steve? I think they should have gone back to the studio. I think back to the studio, or show highlights of the yesterday's game, or just other things, because there's so much content out there. I mean, BBC. I mean, obviously the footage wasn't from the BBC. It was a different company that's been broadcasted. It's broadcast at every television channel, so it's not as if it's the BBC's fault.
What I would say, though, it's not been replayed much or at all since. It's been spoken about with compassion, but the actual incident where Ericsson comes out the side of the penalty area, collects a throw-in, heads it, and then flops to the floor, we all saw it. But thankfully, I can honestly say I've only seen it once. So in fairness, it's not, with total respect to the family, it's not been constantly shown. I'm sure it's there if you want to look for it. But I don't suppose too many of us do, because we've got so much compassion for the player and his family and the Denmark nation. I thought the team did excellently well to hold their nerve, like I say, protect any further intrusion and support their teammate in his minute of need, for sure.
Well, fortunately, he's back on the mend. I think they put out a statement today, and he was seen standing by the window of the hospital, giving the thumbs up. So all is well so far, which is great. As for the game, obviously it petered out. They decided to suspend it, and then they resumed it. Peter Schmeichel today said that apparently UEFA threatened Denmark with a 3-0 loss if they didn't continue. I don't know how true that is, but be that as it may, I don't think the Danish players were in any state to continue, whether or not they knew about Ericsson's health, and for them to be expected to replay it, that would have been silly. So I don't know how they would have attacked it any other way.
I was expecting a wave. I know not everybody's in the stadium, but I do think very rarely do you get a football match where the whole nation, apart from the opposition, are behind one team. It was a bit like a Rocky film where you just want one winner, and I just saw it like I just thought every football fan, every single member of the football family wants Denmark to win this football match, and I just wondered if momentum, luck, football gods would just go with them, and actually it ended up just going against them because of the result and the missed penalty. So it was a day that we will always remember, but obviously for them that they would like to forget, but it'll be impossible to.
Yeah, and Rod, as for the penalty that Steve mentioned, I thought it was a bit soft, but Højbjerg stepped up to take it. Ericsson obviously would have taken it had he been able to do so. But again, was that miss down to pressure? Was it down to what had happened, what he'd seen, or was it just a shit penalty and you should have known better?
I think all of the above. His probably head was scrambled. It was a poor penalty. It was one of them. If the keeper dives the right way, he's just going to catch it very easily. So, yeah, it was. And you got to think what mental state was he at. Obviously, if you believe in the reports, that they were threatened to go out there or they would lose the point. So, Yeah, it was a poor penalty, and you can't understand what mindset he was in on the penalty. But you would think, he's a professional, that he would be solely thinking about a penalty and not thinking about. But you just don't know. You've never even witnessed that or never experienced that. So even though you're a professional, how can you? It's unheard of. So it's a difficult one. But it was a poor penalty.
And what about the goal then? Do you think Schmeichel should have done better again? Do you think perhaps what happened put him off? Because that's a rare mistake from him.
Like I say, again, you just don't know what kind of mindset he's in. He's been through a lot as a young lad, that witnessing what he's witnessed with the owner when he died and the crash, because he was still in the ground. So he would have seen some of the aftermath and literally the helicopter burning. So he's been through a lot as a young kid. And then to see that as well, it's a lot of trauma to go through. And as a keeper, you've got to be really concentrated. Any little mistake and it's a goal. So you can understand that mistake with him, because you just don't know what kind of mindset is it. Was he still thinking about his mates? Football, his mates might have died. So you just don't know. But it was a poor. Usually you'd say that.
Yeah, fair point. All right, on to the next game. I don't think there's really much to talk about here, Steve. Belgium absolutely destroyed Russia 3-0. Lukaku with a brace. And Meunier scoring in a goal sandwich in between. I could ask you if Belgium are favourites. I could ask you if Lukaku is going to get the golden boot. But they did this all without Kevin De Bruyne, who I spent £63 million on my dream team. Lovely. Cheers. Thanks for reminding me the other day.
Remember that. If you remember lightly, I bidded you up for that. And you stepped well into it.
I know.
I was bidding you, mate. I was bidding Steve up, and you jumped in. That's not my,
Hey, I'm confident he's gonna make it either the next game or the game after. He's gonna get me some points. But I'm confident.
City boys, they're like fairies, little but I.
You're starting something now. So, guys, Steve, Belgium, solid performance, solid display. Didn't expect anything else from them, really.
Exactly that. You've just said that last sentence there. They were super impressive, but everything we expected. Power, pace, quality, control, all without De Bruyne and Hazard. Clean sheet. Lukaku, hungry, in form, off the mark. They're also other people's pre-tournament favourites. And, I can't believe they'd be not in anybody's top three before the tournament. They play a wonderful style of football. They're a good age. Everything that's on the tin we saw, and they equally worryingly for everyone else, they can only get better, especially when more so De Bruyne than Hazard comes back into the team.
On the commentary on the game, Patrick Vieira made a good point, but and saying that they weren't really tested by Russia. Will better teams test them defensively because they're not, very, very strong defensively. But, if I built this Belgian team is going to be like a basketball side. If you score 3, I'll score 4. And that got that much quality in it.
Yeah, fair.
They do. The only thing is Castagna's gone home with an injury, I think. I think he's done for the tournament. But then again, they got Vertonghen there. They got, Vermaelen, who's still playing. I don't know, where is he now? Is he in Japan?
No, they are solid defenders, Stel, but they're not, they're not world-class defenders.
No, I agree.
Same with England, same with some other countries. They're solid defenders, but not world-class defenders. They're not like a legit and Van Dijk if they're together, fit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But then again, what I will ask then is how many nations in this tournament have got world-class defenders?
Well, not many. You'd say, Portugal have got very good defenders. Italy, even though they're getting on a bit, very, very experienced, not going to get much out of them. So you've got them. It's different. Not many good, solid central defenders pairings about anymore. They're all got central defending, play out, can play football, but they can defend all right too.
That's right. Right, let's talk about Group C then. It looks like this is the group where all the goals are going to be, or most of the goals are going to be anyway, because we saw Austria beat Macedonia 3-1, North Macedonia, should I say. I'm not going to call them Macedonia because I'll get lynched if I ever go to Greece for saying that. And the Netherlands beating Ukraine 3-2 after being 2-0 up, being pulled back to 2-2, and then scoring right at the death. Now, Steve, if you're Frank de Boer, a head coach who did well at Ajax, winning 2 Eredivisie. He went to Inter, he failed. He went to Crystal Palace, he failed. He even went to MLS with Atlanta, failed. And then he's got this job as head coach. No one's giving him a hope in hell. They say they don't score goals. They say that they leak goals, which obviously we saw the other night. But aside from blowing a 2-goal lead, I'm pretty sure he'll be relieved more than happy for winning that game, right?
Yes. And only he will know, not the substitutions that he made, with Nathan Ake being one, who I've seen at Manchester City all year. And it's not an insult, but I can only describe him really as passive. Doesn't really engage, doesn't really, use his body weight, put himself about. Now, obviously, I'll jump ahead here. It was an unbelievable cross he put in for the rescued winner. But they look like the right substitutions for Holland, but about 25 minutes too early. It seemed like it was needless. It seemed like not knee-jerk. There was no panic. He just felt like he was mega comfortable to make 2 changes. By doing that, you're disrupting what you've trained for all week, what you've selected, your first team talk in the dressing room, and of course, all your set plays. Normally, you do that when the clock's ticking. There didn't seem any need for the set plays, and if anything, it only benefited Russia at this point, who kicked in and recognised the weakness of Ake and exposed it. And also Holland from the set plays. If the game had gone another 5 minutes, they would have conceded another. So I expect them to concede goals in the tournament. I expect them to concede from set plays. But they managed to rescue it with a great cross from Ake, and obviously, a great header for the winner. I thought Wijnaldum, obviously ex-Liverpool, I thought he was a real leader in their how would I describe them? Fragile but quite exciting team. And I agreed with all the pundits on the TV that they will be quite good to watch, but they can't possibly progress in this tournament.
Well, this is it. He kind of did everything, didn't he? He was box to box. He was tackling. He was getting forward. We didn't really see that too often at Liverpool because obviously his role was completely different. But it just seems to me that without Wijnaldum in that lineup, they'll struggle. They'll struggle.
Yeah, but equally with him in it, he might be able to drive the team. You would expect Memphis Depay to win a game possibly for them in this tournament. Certainly score a goal, and that might be from a free kick. So there's a bit to come from Holland, but I also think they are wide open and loose and fragile enough for a bit similar to what Rhodri said before, only the opposite way. Whatever Holland do in future games, I've got a feeling the opposition can do a bit more.
Rod, do you think Ukraine have got what it takes to get out of that group? When you look at Austria, who are a little bit hot and cold, and North Macedonia, who, let's be honest, they're here, but they're here. That's pretty much it. So do you think Ukraine have what it takes to come out of that group?
It depends if they win a game. If you can win a game now and sneak through. I still think you always get a dark horse or a team that doesn't do well, and Austria might be that team. So they got a good win against North Macedonia, and but to answer your question, no, I don't. It'd be a good game. It'd be a big game against
Austria.
Whoever wins that, obviously, going to get second in the group. So it'd be a big game. But to answer your question again, I don't think. It depends how many teams get. Because if Wales win their game and they come second in their group, they'll become fourth. So, mind you, Switzerland, it's difficult to say how many teams can go through if they finish third. Do you know?
Pass. I don't know.
I think it's only 3 or 4. How many? How many groups are there? 8.
A, B, C, D, E, and F. I think 6, isn't it? Isn't it 6 groups?
Okay, so
6 groups. I don't
well,
know.
I think
Maybe I'm
it's
missing
3 then.
something.
I think it's 3 out of 6. That
Okay.
can't be that leaving odd number, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. We'll find out. We'll find out sooner or later. But I think Ukraine can get out of this group. All right, fair enough. Defensively, the goalkeeper shot them in the foot with his mistakes. He should have done it better with the winner. The first goal, I don't know what he was doing, palming it all the way out to Ronaldo. I don't know what he was doing, but if he can shake that off and the defense is a little bit more stable, I think they can get out of that group and surprise a couple of people. Just a couple. Next group. Which group is it? Shall we go? Let's go to the England group. Come on, let's go to England. England beat Croatia 1-0. Scotland lost today 2-0 to the Czech Republic. A fantastic goal from Schick from halfway line, near enough, and the bend on that was fantastic. But Steve, a lot of talk prior to the game was the leaked lineup, where they saw Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice in the middle with Kieran Trippier at left back and Raheem Sterling, who was criticised left, right and centre for not ever scoring in a tournament for England, gets in the starting lineup, scores the winner. Poetic.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. The manager's come out. It's not like we need to have an opinion on it, really. What we think, the manager has said, his data, 13 in 17 for Gareth Southgate in England for Raheem Sterling is worth its place. He ignored the fact that he's been inconsistent for Manchester City, and Pep Guardiola has chosen different things opposing him in the last 6 months of last season. And he judged it on, obviously, what he sees in training at St. George's Park. And, we were all clamouring for Grealish. I think less so, but some were clamouring for Rashford. But the manager went with what he believes is his tried and trusted man. And let's not forget, he's captained England in the last 12 months. His performances and goals and assists for him have been great. So when you look back, now we've won the game. Well done all round. It was a good choice, vindicated and justified.
There you go. And Rod, anything positive to say about England? Calvin Phillips?
No,
Harry Kane?
No, just echo
Sterling?
what Stel says, really. No one really would have picked that side, but, not everyone's seen these players every day. Like Gareth Southgate said, Sterling's never let him down as a player. So why would he not pick him? So you've got that's got to give you good belief as a player, good confidence as a player as well. If you've seen where he grew up, you could throw a stone to his house from where Wembley is. So yeah, it's a good 1-0 as well. It's always a good scoring. We used to talk about me and Stel. 1-0 is a great score. You've got one goal. It's been tight. You've kept it tight. And you've got a good result. It's always difficult to get the first game as well, because historically they've never really done well. And with Scotland with a bad result today, it just opens it up, and there's big games from Friday now, because Scotland really need to win that.
That's right. And Steve, Rod spoke about Scotland just then, and for them to concede a goal just before half time and then to concede a second at the beginning of the second half, that's schoolboy stuff, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And he's getting a hell of a lot of respect, Andy Robertson, for the way he's embracing the captaincy of Scotland. But his chance, he's getting a lot of credibility for how he crosses the ball. But he got a ball played into his path. It was brilliant that he was up there in the first place. But for me, that was a key moment in the game, where everybody was just willing him even the commentator said it exactly the same, head down and strike with your laces and hit the back of the ball. And it should really, for him at that level, fly towards the far post. But he hesitated, and he ended up taking the shot side foot with pace, it was just like the same technique as a cross that you put in from the side of the pitch into the box. And then the game for me changed from that moment. The header came, and then obviously it will be classed as one of the best European Championship goals that you'll ever see in terms of opportunist with that left foot to score from 49.7 yards. So the game just slipped away from Scotland at that point, and they couldn't even call upon the crowd to help them because there was only 12,000 and they were all stunned.
So, what are we looking at on Friday then? Are we looking at a Scottish team that's going to be going in head first with this one with nothing to lose? Or are we looking at a Scottish team that's bereft of confidence, devoid of ideas, and no?
No. Well, Rhodri, I don't know if he'll have the same angle as me, but, you know, every boy's dream, and obviously I'm not Scottish, but it's to play football professionally, play for your country, and play for England. Play against England either at Hampden Park or Wembley. So they have an opportunity to do that. There is absolutely no way on earth any Scotland footballer will go into that with any type of a reserved mentality where they will look to contain England and look to play themselves in the game. The game will fly past in a heartbeat. I expect Scotland to do exactly what you said as the first choice, Stel, which would be, I'm playing against England. I possibly will never do this again in my career. I'm playing at Wembley in the Euros. I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to rip right into these and do my best. I don't expect Scotland to win, but I don't expect them to have any type of fear or caution or lack of confidence.
Scott and Rod, we've hardly seen VAR being used. We've seen a couple of incidents, but are we going to see quite a lot of VAR used against Scotland? I get the feeling, you know, Phillips against McTominay would be quite tasty.
You know, it's going to be difficult for him, but you just got to go look back at to 96. If it wasn't for a Dave Seaman penalty save and a brilliant goal by Paul Gascoigne, you know, Scotland could have won that game. And if you look at that team, players play, it was like night and day. So, you know, Scotland have got some decent players now with a year on experience. McGinn, you know, McTominay's a big game player. We've seen that with Man United when he played against Barcelona in the final. So he can play in the big games. And like I say, they've got some decent players. Robertson's dangerous, but, you know, they have to keep it tight and make it scruffy and make it, you know, an hanging game because, you know, they can't match them toe for toe England. But, you know, like I say, you just got to go back to that 1996 game at Wembley. You know, all right, there was probably 30,000 jocks there that night, but that day. But, you know, there won't be that on Friday, but there'll still be have some voice there. There'll still be some Scottish fans, can guarantee that, and you'll definitely hear them. So they'll need them, but it'd be difficult. But, you know, you have to keep it tight. If England score early on, then it could be a rout.
Yep, and Peter's come up with a really good one. As a Villa fan, it would be great to see Grealish come in against his best mate, John McGinn. Now, here's a question to you guys. I saw someone.
Will he even play? Though he might mix up. I don't know. He might, you know, will Maguire come back in? Will Shaw or Chilwell play? Will he keep the same midfield? Will he keep the same three? You know, why would you change a winning side? But, you know, he's obviously picking a team to win for that game, which is, you know.
Rhodri, I watched Scotland today, and I'm all for tournament rhythm and momentum. And if you're a player, you want to grow into the tournament and get picked again. And I know Sterling and Foden have got really good pace, but I would be really disappointed if we don't expose Hanley of Scotland and also O'Donnell at fullback. O'Donnell looked a nervous wreck. Hanley's a big truck, really, who's really committed. But if we can't get around him, and I'm not convinced that Harry Kane, the brilliant player that he is, he's actually going to outrun him or outstrip him, outpace him into the channel. But I'd like to think we could get some football of Grealish or some pace of Rashford or even Sterling through the middle against Hanley and running back towards his own penalty area. It'll be kryptonite.
Well, this is why I think, you know, we all think you're saying, you know, you don't change a winning team, but, you know, we haven't been in or experienced at the tournaments that Gareth Southgate's experienced. Well, he's played at 7 or 8 tournaments, so he could probably change it 4 or 5 players and probably change it right up and still be the same quality, but have fresh players. So he could easily do that. You know, Grealish in, Rashford in, and change the 4 or 5 players. So Maguire in, Shaw in, there's 4 players. So he could easily do that.
Yeah, I think we can do damage to Hanley and O'Donnell from what I saw today. I think we could do damage to a lot of international teams, but I'd like to see them running back towards their own penalty area and picking those players that do that best. Would be Grealish and Sterling through the middle for me, or Rashford.
I agree with you, except for we.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, I forgot to ask you guys. I saw someone on Twitter yesterday, half time, saying take off Sterling and bring on Grealish, and that would be a problem solved. And then, lo and behold, Raheem Sterling scored the goal. But as for a Jack Grealish, do you think he's going to feature much in terms of a starting option? Because let's be real, he's fantastic talent. But that left-hand side, you got obviously Sterling, you got Sancho that can come in, you got Rashford. Grealish can play pretty much any position though across the midfield.
My opinion, Stel, is I've always had it in my mind that Kane obviously picks himself. And I'd love it to be Phil Foden to play every minute of the tournament. But just in my mind, I can see Grealish and Foden being rotated.
Rod?
Yeah, I think as soon as Jack Grealish steps foot on that pitch, then after that he'll be picked every game, because he just looks like a big game player. Nothing phases him. He always wants the ball. He creates chances, creates fouls on himself. He sucks players in to give space to other players. So yeah, I still think the way the fixtures Foden will play, like Stel says, but I think Grealish, as soon as he plays in, then I think he'll be picked every single game.
Well, Steve has disappeared. I don't know where he's gone. But his device is not connected, so maybe he's had someone calling him or something like that.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, tech problems here. These things always happen when you're live, innit? So yeah. Well, Rod, let's talk about this fucking game here, because Joseph has just put it right. Spain versus Sweden, very boring match. I didn't watch most of this. I saw Sweden have an opportunity. I saw Morata have a chance. Fucking hell, Spain are in disarray. And I know that obviously they've had issues with COVID, and I know they've had issues with players not being experienced enough. But okay, and you could say that it's a squad in transition. But when I look at Spain, I don't fear them. If I was any other team in that group, I wouldn't fear them. And Sweden, sure as fuck, didn't fear them.
What Spain don't have anymore, they don't have a Raul or Fernando Torres. They don't have an absolute, lethal striker up there.
David Villa.
It was an absolute, David Villa. It was an absolute, keep ball session from Spain. There's just no one to put it in the net. And Sweden could have had a heist and really should have, because the guy was 4-5 yards out and he's missed it. But at that level, you should be putting that away. I'm coming away with a 1-0 heist from Spain. So, but Spain will still go through. I think they'll grow into the tournament, but that cutting edge at that top level, no, they're not. I just don't think they haven't got that cutting edge up front to be European champions. No, they haven't got that Lukaku. They haven't got that Mbappe. They haven't got that Lewandowski cut edge. Harry Kane. They're the teams that are going to be in the top four, because they've got that quality up front.
I agree. But the thing is, Steve, when you got Gerard Moreno, who's on the bench, I think he was the second leading goal scorer in La Liga behind Lionel Messi. He sat on the bench, but yet you're picking Morata that can't even score in a brothel. So I don't know. Is this a manager being too, I don't know, faithful in a striker that's played for Real Madrid twice and Juventus? I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps. They've had 83% possession tonight. They played Laporte, who's played in the French youth teams and under 21 teams. Left foot for Manchester City. They played him on the right of defence. He can play football, and he actually played well tonight, but that didn't look right. And to what Rhodri was saying there as well, they were absolutely bombarding Sweden with crosses, but Sweden worked it out quite quickly of where to be in the box to defend the box, and they just decided to defend the penalty area. Now, what Sweden did tonight was hold on for a point superbly. I expect the other teams to beat Sweden, but for all Spain's possession, it backs up what Rhodri said and what you're saying as well in terms of selection. They only looked like they could score from across. There was no invasion into the middle of the penalty area. There was no dribbling. There was no real shots from distance. Everything was down the side of the 18-yard box and crossed, and Sweden had bodies back. So it seemed pretty one-dimensional, even though it was with an attacking wave.
Now, I don't mean to be that person that absolutely lays into Morata, because I kind of like him.
But
I kind of like him. I don't think he's a great player, but I kind of like him. But the thing is, I don't know, when you're bringing on, the Spain's leading goal scorer in terms of a domestic conversation, you're bringing him on with 15 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go for Morata. There's got to be something wrong there. I can't see why he'd wait so long to bring on a striker that's in form. Surely you want to play your in-form players. I mean, if Harry Kane had only scored 5 goals this season, would he have been number 1 striker for England?
Possibly.
Yeah?
Possibly, yeah. A bit like Shearer going into the Euros, having not scored for England for 2 years still. He was still the best player for Terry Venables.
Oh, but he was scoring for Blackburn for fun,
Yes,
though.
he was, yeah, fair.
I mean, if Harry Kane scored 5 or 6 league goals this season, I don't know if he would have been considered as England's number 1 striker, because, Calvert-Lewin had scored 16. Just saying.
Yeah, you make a fair point. I'd like to mention as well that
he hasn't even tweaked yet.
Fernando Torres was moved from the right wing to centre forward for 5 minutes as well before he was replaced. So he's probably thinking he'll be glad that he started, but he'll be thinking, I wouldn't have minded a little bit more than 5 minutes at centre forward to get a goal. So he'll feel a bit shortchanged by the centre forward opportunity as well.
Yeah. Thiago on the bench.
Well, Thiago was brilliant when he came on at doing what he does, which was float it and ping it out wide to the right wing. He did it 7 times, and then the right back or right winger would cross it into the box. But it was very, very predictable, and Sweden just got themselves set up in the box and just headed the ball out every single time. So whilst Thiago looked great with the pass and the cross came in, it was like, yeah, next. Sweden had it all. I wouldn't say with like suit and slippers on, but they were comfortable enough. There was one chance for Spain where they've headed it and the goalie saved it in the 90th minute, but Spain haven't got enough attacking lanes. It was just all being done from across. That's how I saw it anyway.
Okay. Right, final game. Poland 1, Slovakia 2. And I've got my Slovakian flag up here because my mate plays for him. And I'm absolutely buzzing, because this is a nation that no one really gives a chance to win anything. But they played against Poland with the famous Lewandowski.
Yeah.
The guy that scored 40-odd goals this season, with Krychowiak in the middle, with Klich in the team, with Zielinski and Bednarek of Southampton. And lo and behold, they got a 2-1 victory. Okay, Poland had 10 men. Okay, you can't expect Lewandowski to replicate his form for the national team the same as Bayern Munich, but this is a very famous victory for Slovakia. And I think it's even better knowing that, the guy that scored the winner, Skriniar, is a central defender for Inter Milan, teammate of Christian Eriksen's.
Oh, that's nice. I'm very fitting, and I'm sure, like Lukaku, he will have tributed his goal to him. I'd just like to get my gripe out of the way, Stel, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I worked with Robert Mack when he was 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18 at Manchester City. He came over as a 14-year-old boy in digs. His mother and father came over a year later, which helped. And he played in the Youth Cup final win in 2008. So to see him playing international football now he's 30. And for me, scoring in the Euros a wonder goal from the wing, which is taking 3 players out, a nutmeg, and then a shot at the near post. How that can be described as an own goal by the keeper, I do not know. The lad has absolutely bent spoons to get from the touchline to anywhere near the penalty box, and for him to shoot on sight, hit the inside of the post, and it come back in at the goalie on the wrist. Nobody wants to see that goal as a goalie's own goal. And I'm going to admit to bias, but neither do I. I want to see Robert Mack registered with that goal tomorrow because he played with his at Manchester City and he's a great lad.
Meg the fullback as well, mate.
Oh, he megged him,
Megged
He
him.
two or three of them up on the touchline, a little nutmeg to take into the penalty area and a shot. You wait all your life for that moment. Rhodri's been in that position. You know, you might get one chance in the match. You might get one chance in the tournament. That for me is a striker's goal. How can that be a goalkeeper's own goal? Never in your life. Never, ever in your life.
Rod, what do you make of that one? Own goal?
Which one?
Slovakia's first.
No. Not an own goal.
Okay. Well, put it this way: the doubt was done. What should I say? The doubt. You can't really doubt the second goal, who it belongs to, because Skriniar's finished for a central defender on the half volley. Fucking brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah, and they deserved it. They took the game to them. They had the opportunity to go for it because obviously Poland went to 10 men. But credit, you don't really. God, 10 minutes in training maybe. Just overloading a session just in case it happens. But you very rarely train for that 11v10 experience. So credit to Slovakia. They took the game for them. They all speeded up. The manager made changes from the side and they scored from a set play. Job done for Slovakia. I'm dead pleased.
It's always difficult as well, when they've gone when a lot, Poland get one, they're on the ascendant. So yeah, they went down to 10 men, but like Stel said, it's difficult to play against 10 men and to get the goal. And a good result for them because Poland, they're always there and thereabouts. They're into tournament teams. They always seem to always be at tournaments. So it's a good scout for Slovakia. It's always good to get a good win as well, the first game.
Yep, and I'm sure they're going to the next game high in confidence. So
who's the two in their group?
Spain and Sweden.
All right, so they're probably through then, aren't they? They'll get a good result against Sweden.
Well, hopefully, you never know. But for them to get a victory in this tournament is fantastic. So yeah, and obviously
Sweden better than Poland. I wouldn't say.
Don't know. Maybe just a bit. Maybe defensively, yes.
No, when you've got a guy up front that scores 50 goals, they've got to be better.
Yeah, fair.
Or you mean Poland are better than Sweden?
Well, you got a guy playing for you scores.
Yeah, you think. Yeah, you'd think, but he doesn't seem to do it at international level in the major competitions.
But if international, we've just been talking there. Sweden, if Robin Nelson gets that chance, it's 1-0 Poland.
Yeah,
he's in the 4 yards, he's in the 6 yard box. There's a miss from there. That's the difference.
Good comms, Rhodri. Yeah, I agree.
There you go. Wonderful. All right. Well, there's a few more games left for the first round, I guess, of matches, and tasty ones as well. What do you reckon, Rod, tomorrow?
Who is it tomorrow?
France and Germany at night. Portugal.
Portugal, Hungary. Portugal, tough first half, but I think they'll go out easy winners second half. Germany, France. I really, really fancy France, but you can never really go against Germany. But no, I'm going to go fancy France. That'll probably go 2-1. 2-1 France.
Steve?
Draw. Portugal to beat Hungary and France and Germany to draw.
Okay.
Steve, sit on the fence there.
Just two class teams and everybody.
You're probably right. They probably cancel each other out. Just happy to get a point and go for the next round.
Yeah, that one. It's never been said more often than I've noticed in this tournament. Everyone's really putting emphasis on. Of course, we want to win, but try not to. Just make sure you get something from your first game. Make sure you don't lose it. I think there'll be so many amazing players on that pitch, France and Germany, but I think there'll be a hell of a lot of caution.
Yeah, I think you just expect a world-class moment from one of the world-class players that are on show.
But the thing is, do you think Giroud's comments and Mbappe's retaliation is going to, harm France a little bit? Do you know what happened between the two? Have you guys heard?
They've spoke out about something, haven't they? No, you go on. You better tell us, Stel.
Yeah, so basically, Giroud came on in a friendly when they beat Bulgaria 3-0. It was their final game before the tournament. And I think he scored twice. And afterwards, he was saying something along the lines of, I make runs into the box, but the balls aren't being played there. And, it was a little bit critical of France overall. And Mbappe came out and he basically said, I'm sick and tired of this. Like, this isn't the right time for any players to be speaking out, especially in public. So there's already this little rift, which we saw back in the day. I think it was under, who's the previous coach? It wasn't Aimé Jacquet, was it? It was the other one afterwards when the players went on strike. Do you remember when Patrice Evra was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mbappe is right in what he's saying, but he should have kept it in house and just say it to Drew instead of coming out and saying it, because two wrongs don't make a right. But Mbappe's right in what he's saying. He should have kept it, in house and kept his mouth shut just before a tournament. You don't need that kind of crap. So yeah, but then he's done the same by coming out and saying what he said. You should have told him in the change room, keep your fucking mouth shut.
Well, Giroud has scored 46 goals for the national team, right? And he's only 5 behind Thierry Henry, who's the leading goal scorer in France's history. Now,
I understand that, but you don't. It's just before a tournament. You don't come out. You don't want negativity in the camp, and that is negative. You don't want any of that crap. You want all be positive. Everyone on the same boat. Everyone going in the same direction. Not someone criticising. Oh, we should be doing this. We should be doing that. If you want to say that, all right, say it to the coach, say it to the players. Don't come out and whinge about it to a reporter and just cause uproar for no reason when you're one of the, tournament favourites. You just don't need it. That kind of crap. When it comes to the semi-final, final, if you're not all on the same page and you're all fighting for each other, then you're not going to win anything.
Well, the thing is, Mbappe didn't object to what Giroud said. It's him saying it in public is what bothered him.
Yeah,
and that's why he come out to say what he did. But
and with an experienced player like Giroud, he should know better. He's French, just it's French.
That's how they're wired, yeah. Say it.
Some of them don't give a crap, do they? That's the way they are.
Yeah. All right, Steve, if you look at Giroud, as I mentioned, he's 5 goals behind Thierry Henry as the all-time goal scorer for the French national team. You've got someone like Karim Benzema that's been out of the equation for many years now because of an alleged blackmailing incident with a former teammate in Valbuena, and now he's been recalled to the French national team, as I said, after many years. How do you think Giroud is feeling right now, where he's got Mbappe ahead of him, he's got all these other players he's been trying to fight to get, Griezmann, etc., and now Benzema's in the squad? Then can you imagine what he's going through, or his frustrations?
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine there'll be a bit of ego here and pride. Everybody wants to play. But the game has changed so much, Stel, and I'm not suggesting it's a young man's game completely. But all this pressing from the front now, and all these dynamic runs that these strikers make, we know that Giroud is amazing at holding the ball up and bringing teammates into play, and we know that he's amazing attacking the ball from crosses. But that might not be France's, certainly not Chelsea's choice, the way of starting a game. And unfortunately, well, giving some gratitude, he is a world-class player, and he will be to the day he retires. But his output is probably a plan B. And albeit that it's for the Champions League winners, the World Cup winners, and maybe the European Championship winners, maybe. He's earned his right to be amongst the elite of football. He's that good. But the truth is, in the way teams are set up these days, he's a plan B, because younger, quicker men occupy the wide positions and attack the goal. And actually, in his position as a centre forward, the big bruising type, the bulky type, tend to come off the bench, and that's what he is. He'll have to just swallow it.
Lovely, wonderful, excellent. Well,
it must be hard to take though when he played almost every game and he won the World Cup. But like Stel says, that was what 5-6 years ago. Games moved on a lot.
Totally.
What was 5 years ago?
When France won the World Cup.
2 years ago, man. 2018, 3 years ago. 2018, wasn't it? Time flies when you're having fun, man.
He must find it tough though, because he did really well in it. Even though he didn't score many goals, I didn't think he scored one. Yeah. But they won the World Cup with him playing almost every game. So
precisely,
he does bring a lot of the players into it and gets the players around him a lot of goals. So
I remember the first game was against Australia, and they were absolutely piss poor. And then Deschamps put in Giroud, changed the system around, and they went and won the fucking thing. So
he's a good option to have, isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah, of course.
if you want to talk about one-touch finisher, he's the best in the world. Almost every goal he scores is with his first touch.
Yeah, that's where you're navigating towards the box with no build-up play and just getting it in the box. And that isn't how teams want to set up these days for the first 70 minutes of games. And if you want to chase a result, he's your man for exactly what you're saying. But the first 70 minutes are trying to be a bit more tick-a-tacker and a little bit more dynamic, which unfortunately not got the athletic profile for, despite being an elite athlete for what he does. But for what a football match starts with these days, you can see where managers go against it.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. This was fun, and hopefully we can do this in a couple of days. What do you reckon? Do another one?
After Wales win.
Huh?
After Wales win.
When are they playing? Friday?
Wednesday.
When's that's in a couple of days' time. All right. No worries. We'll work something out. All right, gentlemen, and everyone watching, thank you very much. Till next time, have fun.